Right.
Okay, this is special city council meeting. It's February 14th. And at noon, so with that. Start the meeting, we're gonna do a roll call. Everybody
Mayor,
here?
Councilman Pendergrass. Here. Councilor Phillips
Here.
and Councilor Richards.
Here.
Insurance City Administrators here and the Deputy Clerk is absent.
So item before is the approval of the leasing terms for the used fire truck from NCL. Okay. Been a couple of pages, spreadsheet and cover letter from NCL. Yep. And the document, the front page of the documentation that we received a couple days ago. And of that, of those forms, the amortization schedule is one in your packet too. Okay, yep, it's got that one.
About 5 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the cover sheet, that's our agenda sheet.
So Renee went through, so what they did was to help expedite the wiring of the check to the bank tomorrow, so we can do the check that they can take with them when they go pick up the truck on Saturday. They're leaving Friday night, I guess. So we had to, so what we did was we filled out the forms. I signed all the appropriate places and so did Renee. We scanned them, sent them to NCL yesterday. And I talked to Christian, he's their contact that we've been working with. And he called me about an hour ago and said everything looked okay. So the documents are all done. They agreed to the documents. We just need to go through our process of approving the documents and then I will FedEx them this afternoon to them. And then they can wire that. They're going to send us an email today. What they need to where they want to wire the check to Franson Bank. Their accounting number, routing number, and they'll wire that tomorrow. And hopefully tomorrow afternoon, early afternoon, so that gives us time and we'll make sure we have notification from the bank that they have received it and we'll write the check out for the 200 for the 300,000. That's the plan. So the amortization schedule is shows where we came up with the 257 and the 7-year with the low balloon payment in 2031.
Actually, it's 6 years and then the balloon payment.
Yeah, the year
7th year is the.
7th year, yes.
Is the balloon payment.
So they were originally when we talked about it, it was going to be 10 payments and the 6% interest. And what they agreed to do is keep that same payment that we were talking about with 10 years for 7 years and do the balloon payment. And the interest is like 6.8 with this agreement for the 7-year period.
So they wouldn't do the 10-year?
Evidently not. That's when we went back with our credit application. We sent that back last week. And based on that credit application, they would only do 7 years. And they did not go into reasons why they, I don't know if it's because of his lesser amount or what, maybe they had some influence on it probably.
What do you mean a lesser amount?
Sorry,
What do you mean by a lesser amount?
it was 330,000 was our original one. But then we dedicated the public safety aid and that brought it down to 250.
Okay.
It's 335. With that, fire safety.
Public safety aid brought it down to 335?
No, brought it down to 257.
It brought it down to 257.
Okay, which was less than what I think originally they were gonna do, so.
Here we go. This sheet.
Very tall.
Okay.
And they brought it down to that, so then.
Just out of curiosity, do we know what our credit rating is?
I don't know.
If this had an impact, or if, did our credit have an impact on this? If it did, would it be
That's a good
something that
question.
we should look into?
Go to Dun and Bradstreet. You can go to Dun and Bradstreet, if we have our corporation number, you can find that out. Dun and Bradstreet does credit reports on corporations.
No, I don't, Christian, what?
It'd be good to know.
I don't know if it's a credit rating, or Moody's rating, or.
I think it'd be good to have, absolutely. To move forward, absolutely.
Just looking at that spreadsheet, we talked about up to 50,000 for the city outfitting it, and talking with, Johan, and maybe they talked about it at the fire department meeting Monday night, but we're hoping that there's a $9,000 thermal imaging machine.
That Johan said he was not gonna put in there.
Right, it's something to be nice to have, but not a,
We don't need it right now.
Right.
We've got, I guess we have two right now, right? Steve?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've already got two, so we don't need a third one right now, so.
and there may be other things on that list of items that can be reduced at 50,000 to something less, so.
Where is that list of items that,
He gave it to us last time.
Nothing our January meeting.
Yeah.
okay, I'll have to go back and look at it.
Yeah.
So,
Because you said that's something that we didn't need on there.
well, we're asking to be little.
Or prudent on what.
Yeah, so
It depends on, yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, okay.
and I think they agree with that, so.
yeah, he pulled that up and he said that he'd take that out, so. And Johan agreed to take it out.
So I also want to share something with you. It wasn't in the packet, but Kane, this happened yesterday afternoon. In the age of, not the age, for transparency. So this kind of gives you an overview of the dollars that we're talking about here. And it just kind of summarizes where we're at with what we're doing. Compared to something that we would have considered had we gone out and purchased a new machine or a new engine. And that's at the bottom there, and the number of years of service. The only question I have is that we use the public safety aid up at the top, the 79,000, to get us down to 257,000. So it seems like we're doubling up on the 79,000 down payment in the second column too.
I guess I think of it just as total investment, start to finish on that. There's a down payment of 79 plus the schedule,
Right,
the 37 and change, plus the 7-year balloon payment.
What's the 37? Is that the,
That's the yearly payment.
annual payment.
okay.
So,
So when I guess I just add those numbers up, like, if you're gonna go buy a vehicle, you got a down payment, you got a monthly, yearly payment, whatever. And at the end of it, that's the cost of it.
I understand what you're saying, but it seems like because the 79,000 allowed us to get down to that lower payment. Because without it, we would have been 59,000 or 55,000 a year.
37,000, yeah.
Yeah. But
But I think in all honesty, when you put it back in there, you will see your total cost of that vehicle. And I think that's what he was getting at, is to show the
Yeah.
vehicle. It's not like, even if you had 100,000 in your savings account, you still, when you expend something, you still have to account for that 100,000. It's not like, and that's what you were trying to do, is show that
yeah,
the cost of this vehicle and the years that you have on it is not a real good bargain for the city. That's what staff would tell you. Now, it's gone through and no one's asked what my opinion was, and so that's okay, whatever the city wants to do, it's fine.
The wheels are in motion.
Yeah,
I'm
the
not
wheels-
trying to overthrow anything
Yeah.
here, but
No, I think that it would have been good, to maybe have this when we started our negotiation.
You know,
Yeah.
the
It would've been
takeaway
good.
too here is the truck we're replacing is been out of compliancy for. Well, it's 1992, so.
Right.
7 years. So for 7 years, we've been. Not doing a thing. It hasn't been an issue.
Mhm.
But now within the last, say, 6 months, it's risen to the top of. Priorities, I guess.
That's not our main vehicle. That's not our main.
No,
That's a secondary piece of equipment.
But
No, that's
engine
the
one's
main,
always
but-
gotta go out
No,
first.
the main fire truck was in 92. Cause they bought one since then.
Yep, 2015.
There's a 2015 truck out here.
Which
That's
is
the main
engine
fire
one.
truck.
Mhm.
That's, so if the other one's out of compliance, it's probably not as big of a deal because you still have your main unit. Yeah. Does the backup have to be? Just question,
So
not
I
you,
think
but
that
should that question should have came up back when we were first talking about it minutes ago.
if you look at the 14 years, useful years left, if you were to look at, say, 16 years, it's 30,909, which is,
Right, I mean,
so it comes down.
it does come down, yep.
Yeah, we've,
Right.
this is a 41 year, no,
Just in
41
defense
year
of staff,
machine.
when you said, well, it should have come up, none of staff knew this was really going on. It just appeared one day and now here we are. It wasn't discussed during the budget process that I know of.
No,
And so, and here we are. So it's not like staff had a lot of input because never was there a meeting on it other than today.
It was talked about in our budget
was-
process
it was
back
in the
in
budget.
August. and July.
Yeah, we've talked about it a few times that there, we just didn't have this.
That information.
This is just new that's in there. The other thing that's kind of missing on the other new engine, if you'd put it in there, okay, would be the other 50,000 that you need for equipment.
Mhm.
Okay, is not put on that. And from what I was told, again, it just going from that was, you couldn't get a new engine for 750. I thought it was 1 or 1.2 is what I was given. Okay, but just so you know, that's what I was given. When we were looking at it, and which is different than 750, which is $500,000 less than what we were, I guess, led to believe. Is that the right term that I want to say?
The fire department we're buying this truck from, they just purchased a new one for 750.
But they bought that, probably purchased it 2 years ago to get it, so it was done so they could have it now. And so that, we don't know if that's a current cost.
I think we have to be fair. If we're gonna look at new versus what we've done, and I think we're doing what we're doing because this is what we can afford. And we think it's going to last. But I think if we're gonna compare to a new one, we have to put the new price and equip it with what the used one has. And I gotta believe there's no way we'd be able to afford that on top of what we've done this year. So I think we have what we can afford. I can appreciate this exercise because we need to be.
Cause this one's 11 years old, right?
Yeah, but we still end up we get 14 years out of it. I guess, looking, and hopefully won't have to look at this down the road, but I look at what kicked this off was that rebate of $79,000 that was coming from the state, which is a one-time, and once they saw that, and we never did see a total cost of a brand new one. Without that, just out of curiosity, could we get Johan to go back, or fire safety, or whoever it was that did this, and give us a new price of a new one if we order today could we come up with that?
But is it worth it?
Well,
It's not worth it at this
No, it's not
point.
gonna change it. I just out of curiosity off of what that
Well,
was.
Yeah, we can do the curiosity, but yeah,
But when we first started, the first discussion we had about fire truck was a different truck to start.
right.
But, and which was actually more expensive because that one was $350 to start out with for the one that didn't work out, and this one was $300. So finding this one, we actually saved 50,000 by finding this unit that there was.
And the other thing, I would say, Dan had mentioned it last year, that we have to start looking at replacing our engine. He said that way back last year to the council. So I don't think this is new.
Who said that, Dan?
Sonny had said that the fire department talked about equipment, so. So the other thing, just to clarify this, outside of the $500 check, and any other miscellaneous expenses, but for the most part, everything here is a non-budget item. From the standpoint that these annual payments will be coming out of, it won't be a budgeted item, it'll come out of the general review, or general funds, I should say. Just for transparency, we did do, the staff was to look at different options, and we did, so I just want to review those very clearly, so. I talked to Mike Labonte, who's our financial planner, and we talked about a bank loan or a lease loan. So I reached out to F&M Bank, talked to Dan Christensen, the president there. And he said he'd be willing to work with us. He would try and make an annual payment made versus a monthly payment. And so that probably wasn't the best opportunity. So then I also called Chuck Phillips at USDA. And one of their requirements is the median income, and the median income for Orinoco is like 153,000. So we probably would not qualify for any substantial or any type of loans there. So in talking with Mike, I shared that with Mike, and then we started talking about a lease. So he suggested his experience, Mike Labonte is our financial planner, was that he's worked with NCL, the government capital, but he's had really good success with them. And the lease payment is probably the best route to go. If you were to look at a bank loan, you also have to carry insurance with that, but with the lease loan, you don't have to do that. So that was the direction of why we went with NCL, was more with Mike Labonte's, and I respect his opinion as well. So that's why we're at the point we are today, is we looked at the different options, so. With that, I'll make a motion that we approve the NCL leasing terms.
Second.
Any other comments? I will follow up on this credit rating just to see, and maybe they'll share that with me or not. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. Just for background information going forward as well. At the same time, just FYI, NCL, the gentleman that we deal with, Christian, is also in charge of all public safety aid leasing. So if we look at future equipment in the future, that might be one alternative for us for the city to look at. They've done, gear, tanks, radios, any type of public safety aid. So they're well versed, and that's what they typically do for a lot of cities. So tuck that away in our hat. Any other comment?
So who are the others that you talked to about financing?
F&M Bank,
Michael Labonte.
No, I know that, but I mean.
F&M Bank was one of
And
them.
who was the other one?
He went to USDA.
Oh,
United States Department of Agriculture. Chuck Phillips is the regional guy.
okay.
Any other comment? One thing that crossed my mind, we'll vote on the motion, but I do think I don't think we have time to do it now, but we ought to come back with a confirmation, a resolution confirming this for documentation.
Okay.
I think that would be good in the March meeting,
Right.
if we can do that
In the March meeting?
at the March meeting.
February.
A resolution confirming what we've done here.
It's almost too late to put it on the one for next week. Okay, we got cut off.
We can try, we'll see. I don't know.
The first one, almost ready, but you could add that.
There's no reason to rush them in the office. If it's not too late, we're just fine.
Just
Just a confirmation.
documentation.
Exactly.
Nothing being lost in meeting minutes, so. Seeing no other comments, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. It's approved. Send those documents all this afternoon. FedEx. With that, I make a motion for the meeting adjourned at 12:20.
Second.
One,
Second.
favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much for coming in.
Hey, can we get a, stop our recording?
Thank you.